Now, Christmas comes with a lot of expectations, and I would say that the elf on the shelf is probably the worst, but gifts, meals, social obligations, they all rank pretty high too. Well, this year I'm going to ruin Christmas. I'm sorry, but maybe you should too. If this is your first time here, my name is Robyn. I help overwhelmed people simplify their lives through organization, productivity, creating an environment where they can thrive. Now, this video is part of the mega motivation playlist that Dawn from the Minimal Mom started. And this month we are all talking about tips for last minute Christmas things. So make sure you check out the other people in this playlist. It's going to be so fun. I know they always do such fantastic videos, so I will link that down below and at the end. So you are definitely going to need a drink for this. Grab your Christmas tea, your eggnog, or your cider, and let's go. First though, let's break down a few things. I love Christmas. Now, if you have seen any of my previous videos, you will know just how much I love Christmas, which is why this is kind of harsh. Now, I have a planner full of things to do to prepare for Christmas, and I even start in October. But here's the thing. I don't love expectations. I always had amazing Christmases as a child and as a young adult. Now, when I was a kid, we would go to my grandparents' house in Calgary, Alberta. It was often a treacherous drive, but my dad would get us there in one piece as we drove from the Kootenays, and we had the warmest, sweetest, funniest times of our lives every year. And I am so grateful for that. And I know not everybody has, and I am sorry for that, but you can make this year good too. There was shopping, hanging out, watching Christmas movies, and fun leading up to Christmas, so that was awesome. Christmas Eve always had a lovely meal, and Mom and her sisters and my grandma got down to business. But on the big day, we all got up really, really early. Like I would get up at like 2 a.m. and I don't think my family liked that. And then we would very slowly open our presents one by one. And it literally took hours, like legit hours, like one by one, slowly opening presents. Then there was all of the cooking. My grandma and family made a huge dinner. It was glorious. Lots of baking. So fun. Now, even when my grandparents moved to Vancouver Island and I followed, it was still so fun and all of the same stuff. I honestly don't think I even appreciated the effort that my grandma and everybody was putting into things. And then once I got married and had kids, like honestly, how could I compete with that? Well, one of my first Christmases as a mom and a wife, we were living in the Queen Charlotte Islands, also known as Haida Gwaii. I was very sad not to be with my family, and I decided I was going to make the best of it. So my husband had to work Christmas Eve though, and he was due home around dinner time. So I was excited about getting the house ready, all of the festivities, all of the things that my grandma would do, I tried to recreate. That was actually the first time I watched It's a Wonderful Life. But my husband was running late, which was sad because he missed putting my oldest to bed and explaining how fun tomorrow would be. But I did that instead, and I tucked the baby into bed, and then I set out the presents and waited. And I started getting a little more frustrated as time went on. Well, at 11, he called and said he had to work all night because the person coming to relieve him couldn't come in. I was honestly so devastated. I was cranky, but as I sat with it and I slowly put all of the presents away, and honestly, like my son was 2, he would have had no idea, and he didn't. I actually felt peace, which was kind of weird, honestly. And when my husband got home, he had actually worked like 24 hours. I tucked him in and I said, "It's all good." And then I started making Christmas dinner. And so when he woke up, we had such a nice day. We had a delicious dinner. We watched movies. It was so peaceful. It was unlike any Christmas I had ever had. And then we opened presents the next day. It was great. And I can honestly say this was, and still remains to be, the most peaceful Christmas I have ever had in my life. And it was the exact opposite of what I was expecting. So now, fast forward back to now, I started all of the chaos when we moved back 12 years ago. And instead of just staying at my grandparents all day, we would drive all around half of the day to different family members' houses. And I started becoming more and more frustrated. And I decided, it stops this year. It stops. I'm ruining Christmas. I don't know what it was like for my grandma all of those years ago. She did have a team a lot of the time, but not always. And my mom and her 3 sisters, I'm sure, were very helpful. But my grandma and I have a lot in common. Control issues. Even with help, we still want to have a hand in most of it, which, I'm working on. We also carry the mental load. So the stress that leads right up to Christmas. And I think that we sometimes forget that this is our Christmas too. And we are not just here to make others happy, and we need to make ourselves happy too. And I often say, like, I want to do all of this stuff, and I will get into that. But part of it is trying to make things good for other people. So as you may know, my beloved grandparents just sold their house and are now living in a seniors retirement home. So where does that leave the big dinner? Now I could say, sure, I will host Christmas dinner and cry and drink gin in the pantry. But instead I had another idea. I am completely mixing it up and I am potentially ruining things. I will host dinner, but I'm hosting dinner on December 22nd.
What? What?
We may or may not have turkey. I don't know. I haven't decided. My family is welcome to come. I am inviting them. Christmas Day, we might have beef Wellington, maybe something simpler, something delicious for sure, but it will just be my immediate family. And as a reasonable minimalist, I don't decorate nearly as much as I used to, and that feels really nice too. I don't want to be overstimulated by the colors and the lights flashing. I want a happy, peaceful, and calm environment. I officially remove all expectation from my own shoulders. And this includes social commitments. I love spending time with friends and family, but believe it or not, I'm actually an introvert, like it seems everybody is. But honestly, I seem like chatty, but then I'm like, I love seeing people, but my energy gets drained super, super fast. And I honestly need to recharge myself, and just with my immediate family, although preferably alone if I want a rapid recharge. And that is just how I recharge myself. Being with people, I love it, but it drains me. And so a lot of us end up in a mess, overwhelmed, tired, and stressed because we don't know where to draw the line. And so honestly, I recommend being really careful with your energy, especially during busy times. As for gifts, I'm not stressing myself up. If I see something someone will like, I will probably buy it, especially if it doesn't cause clutter. But I'm okay giving money to a few people, knowing that they will probably appreciate it and can buy themselves what they like. I think that a lot of us feel obligated to give gifts, but we feel like it has to be like a super thoughtful gift. But at the same time, we're causing clutter because we think we're giving a thoughtful gift. We don't want to give money. Meanwhile, people are like, I will happily take money. And as a nurse, I've seen far, far too many lives cut short. And I can assure you that this life is finite and that we should not ever sacrifice our own happiness for tradition's sake or to please other people. So this year, I am ruining Christmas. I am seeking balance. Join me in this revolution, balancing home, family, life, and self. Now, I like to do a lot, but if I want to fit a lot in, I need to start early, which is what I do. I do want to do a lot of the things. I just remove expectation, but I start early. And I made a video all about this and I will link it here. I also have a group if you want, you can join. We are all sort of planning what we are doing together. I'm doing a short video every day. You can click the link for that. But also don't forget to check out the other videos in this series. It will be so helpful. Thank you for watching and have a very peaceful Christmas. Bye.